Welcome to Yacht Crew Vlogs, where we tell the stories of those in the yachting industry. A behind-the-scenes look that discovers the individuals in the industry, their history, their passions, and what inspires them to do what they do. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome my next guest, Ian Petz from Equiom Yachting. It's Equiom Group, but it includes yachting and aviation, correct?
Yes, we've got over 104 yachts under our management, and we've got 38 jets at the moment, yes.
Wow, so you're a busy man.
It's been a very busy weekend, yeah, especially keeping on top of the sanctions. We have an excellent compliance team, so they're constantly going through the sanctions lists and keeping us up to date and trying to do as much. Of course, we employ 1,400 crew as well across 110 yachts, so we're super busy at the moment. Our crew department's very busy.
Well, the reason I wanted to talk to you today is because watching you on LinkedIn, you seem to have quite a bit of knowledge of the situation, and obviously the reason why is because you do employ so many crew and with the yachts and the jets. Let's go from the top down. With these sanctions that are in place now, I mean, the amount of orders that are in the new builds books are off the charts right now. And we do know that Russians are responsible for some of those new builds, guaranteed, considering how many of them are into yachting and buying yachts. How will this affect the current builds on order?
Well, it's going to be both an immediate effect, but also a long-term effect, because it can take over 3 years or even longer to build a super yacht, and there's typically 7 or more stage payments. And receiving money for those stage payments and executing them is going to be a very difficult process. Sanctions lists are being updated on a daily basis at the moment. So something that yachting has to do, it has to beef up its compliance and its compliance teams and compliance knowledge to ensure that they are following the sanctions, because there are, in many jurisdictions, there are penalties if you break the sanctions, and those penalties can not only be on the companies themselves, they can be on the individuals. For example, here in Monaco, it's between 18,000 and 90,000 on individuals penalties, and your company is not allowed to assist you in the payment of those penalties. So keeping on top of the law and keeping on top of the sanctions is really important. But the practical aspects, as you say, these yachts need to be built, and if a yacht is halfway through build and the shipyard's not receiving payments, of course the cash flow of the shipyard's going to be impacted significantly, and we're going to have to see what the impact and the responses of individual shipyards. Shipyards have a good pipeline at the moment, but we did see during COVID several shipyards did go to the wall. They suffered cash flow issues and they needed to be rescued. So this is just an additional impact now, and it's going to be tough on some shipyards, especially if they're dependent on Russian-based clients. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's not especially good news. Now, let's go down then to provisioning and management and crew of these Russian yachts. If these yachts, because the majority of them are registered within the European Union, and right now they're either in the Caribbean, because of course that season is still going, on their way to the Mediterranean, and some of them are in the Mediterranean. What happens to the crew? Because we all know that a yacht has to be insured. It literally has to be insured. If the maintenance isn't done on those yachts, if there isn't crew on those yachts, the crew is paramount to the insurance. You have to have at least a skeleton crew on board in order to have your yacht insured. And it is in the government's best interest to make sure that those yachts are maintained, because otherwise they're worth absolutely nothing, and sanctioning them is absolutely pointless. What's going to happen? Who's responsible for the cost of fuel, the mooring, the gas, electricity, everything?
Yeah, well, it's a very big issue, because the yachts are very cash dependent, and if cash can't move, then people can't be paid. Yachts can't be fueled up; they can't move. It extends as well to this summer's charter season. There'll be already some charters that have been booked. And the way charters are booked is you have a down payment, and then you get extra payments as you get closer to the charter. Those extra payments won't be able to come. So charter brokers as well are very busy at the moment analysing the impact that they might have. But also the lack of demand for the summer. The Russians are big charterers of their yachts, and physically getting to the yachts. But as you say, the crew are the crew make this industry happen. We're going to see big problems. And management companies usually hold a large amount of funds on their account ready to pay for salaries and pay for the day-to-day maintenance, but those funds will run out quickly. So I expect this week people are very busy looking at contingency scenarios, and the yacht accountant, the pursers, are going to have to run different scenarios of what cash they've got, what they can do, and how they can get funds, and they might not be able to get those funds. So they're going to have to look at scenarios to, as we used to say in 2008, mothball the yacht, and that's the big changes for the yacht. But the most important, remain calm at the moment and see and run the different scenarios. And this is why, as Anasa said, running a ship is 95% careful accounting. You need to know your cash flows in and cash flows out, and know how long you can run the yacht for. And without cash at the moment, it's going to be tough. It's going to be, but apart from the cash and the finance side, it's the emotional impact on crews at the moment. They're stressed. We've got yachts with both Russian and Ukrainian crews on board. It's a huge emotional impact, and also other people who are not immediately connected as well, just watching the news. It's distressing what the pictures. It's so yeah, we all have to get together in yachting and support. And it's been wonderful in Monaco. The yacht people have given. We've already got 70 bags in 24 hours of provisions to send to Ukraine and to the Polish border for people fleeing the conflict. So the yacht industry is really coming together. It's really good to see what can be achieved. The power of love and the power of people wanting to help. So that's so good to see. Also, I'll be speaking to our head of crew, Scott Lacorno, in Jersey later to get updates, and we'll be able to let you know more news. But Scott and his team are confident. 1,400 crew we've got, and they'll be all over it this morning. What needs to be done.
Nice. The last question I want to ask you, actually, before I let you go, is there has been crew already, the Russian crew themselves. Now that the SWIFT system is in question, there's a lot of crew that get paid via Revolut or TransferWise. And then they transfer back to their banks in Russia because they've got, whether they have mortgages or they've got electricity to pay, that, people have bills, right? And they go to work in order to pay those bills. How are they going to be able to get their money in order to cover their basic needs back home, or their family's basic needs back home in Russia? Because there's a lot of Russian crew that work on American flag boats. They're not necessarily working on Russian flag boats. And a lot of the times the Russian flag boats or the Russian boats don't want Russian crew because they rather not have crew that understand what they're talking about. So how are these crew going to be able to get their money home?
That's a very good question, and we're working on different options with our crew department. It's one is the money, and also physically joining your yacht. Ukrainians, men who are in Ukraine, of course, can't physically join their yacht, so that's number one problem to fulfill their contracts. So we're working on that aspect, and also the payment to them. Yeah, getting money to them, changing details. We'll speak to them, and maybe we can get money to their wives. Maybe we can get. We're looking at all different options at the moment, but it's particularly sad. I mean, I'm in contact with one in Odessa, and he can't get to his boat. And yeah, of course, he wants to also fight for his country, and he's torn between joining his boat and staying with his family. And of course, the family is the most important. That overrides everything. So. Really tough times, and it's a developing situation as you see sanctions all over the weekend, new ones, but the banks are being slowed down an awful lot, and we just can't move some money, but our crew department are all over it. So I encourage captains to contact Scott Lacorno and in our Jersey office and speak to him about it.
Well, I'll make sure to get all those links and put them down below here, as well as for those that want to help out in aid, whether it be clothes, whether it be money, whatever they may need. If you can provide me with a link in order for them to be able to do that in the south of France, that'd be great. And I have to say, thank you so much for your time. One thing I do want to say is that we are talking about the Russian government invading Ukraine. The Russians and the Ukrainians have lived a coexistent life for many, many years. And, you see straight across the maritime industry, you see from shipping right now, you see a lot of photographs of Russian and Ukrainian crews standing side by side, holding their flags and supporting one another. And I think the common man, the normal, regular common man, we all feel that way.
We have Europe is a big melting pot of nationalities, and we all work. Diversity is key in teams, and we all work together. It's just a shame that top politicians haven't got their act together and sorted out. And it's not that it's just happened. It's been going on since 2014, and a lack of political will. It's a shame that nothing's happened since 2014. Now we're left. That's what happens when you let things fester. It's
that's right.
We've got big issues now, but it's going to impact the yacht industry really an awful lot. And there's creeping legislation on the KYC, the compliance, and the yacht industry really needs to step up and legally and their compliance knowledge, because it's fast developing. You don't see yacht compliance officer as a job, but you will see it very soon. I mean, here at Equiom, just in our Monaco office, we have 6 compliance officers. It's a full-time job at the moment. So we're going to see, and this summer it will impact very heavily on the charters. So
well, I guess if they start looking into the books and compliance hasn't been met, it's not necessarily just the Russians they will find. They will find, because there is going to be more of a magnifying glass on these funds. So if you are anywhere stepping out of bounds, no matter where in the world this money is coming from, not necessarily Russian, it will be found.
It's reputation risk. It's not just being on the sanctions list, reputation risk as well. It's the headline test. Do you want to be associated with this person? And these are highly visible assets. So it's the headline test for nearly everybody. And it's not just the brokers, the charter brokers, the management companies that have to do this compliance. It's right that your fuel broker, all the way down the provisioning chain. And as I said earlier, it's a warning to anybody who wants to circumvent the sanctions of things. There's individual penalties, and they're pretty severe. So get up to speed on the legal, get up to speed on the compliance, and let's send our love out to the crews, because it's a tough time for everybody. Uncertainty is stressful, and we're all going to have to help each other through this.
Guaranteed. Well, I know you have another meeting that you're heading off to shortly.
Which yachting is great to do.
If you
Thank
could
you,
provide
Rhea.
me
It's
with those
wonderful.
links.
You journalists are the front line in this, because it's the truth getting out, the knowledge out is so important. So the best things in conflicts and things we have to get is information. People are desperate for information. So it's a really good job you're doing. Well done.
Thank you very much. If you could provide me with those links later is fine. I know, as I said, a meeting to go to. You've been listening again to Ian Hatz. Thank you very much for your time from the Equiom Group, Yachting and Aviation. My name is Rhea. I have been your host. You've been watching another edition of Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. We'll see you again next time.